Alright guys, I'm back here with another chapter from Matthew, and the header for this chapter is Jesus performs many miracles. Jesus heals a man with leprosy. And so we're going to start with that. And again, this is chapter 8 in Matthew. Large crowds followed Jesus as he came down the mountainside. Suddenly a man with leprosy approached him and knelt before him. "Lord," the man said, "if you are willing, you can heal me and make me clean." Jesus reached out and touched him. "I am willing," he said. "Be healed." And instantly the leprosy disappeared. Then Jesus said to him, "Don't tell anyone about this. Instead, go to the priest and let him examine you. Take along the offering required in the law of Moses for those who have been healed of leprosy. This will be a public testimony that you have been cleansed." A Roman officer demonstrates faith. When Jesus returned to Capernaum, a Roman officer came and pleaded with him, "Lord, my young servant lies in bed, paralyzed and in terrible pain." Jesus said, "I will come and heal him." But the officer said, "Lord, I am not worthy to have you come into my home. Just say the word from where you are, and my servant will be healed. I know this because I am under the authority of my superior officers, and I have authority over my soldiers. I only need to say 'go,' and they go, or 'come,' and they come. And if I say to my slaves, 'Do this,' they do it." When Jesus heard this, he was amazed. Turning to those who were following him, he said, "I tell you the truth, I haven't seen faith like this in all Israel. And I tell you this, that many Gentiles will come from all over the world, from east and west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast in the kingdom of heaven. But many Israelites, those for whom the kingdom was prepared, will be thrown into outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth." Then Jesus said to the Roman officer, "Go back home, because you believed. It has happened." And the young servant was healed that same hour. Jesus heals Peter's mother-in-law and many others. When Jesus arrived in Peter's house, Peter's mother-in-law was sick in bed with a high fever. But when Jesus touched her hand, the fever left her. Then she got up and prepared a meal for him. That evening, many demon-possessed people were brought to Jesus. He cast out the evil spirits with a simple command, and he healed all the sick. This fulfilled the word of the Lord through the prophet Isaiah, who said, "He took our sickness and removed our diseases." Jesus teaches about the cost of following him. When Jesus saw the crowd around him, he instructed his disciples to cross to the other side of the lake. Then one of the teachers of religious law said to him, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you go." But Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens to live in, and birds have nests, but the Son of Man has no place even to lay his head." Another of his disciples said, "Lord, first let me return home and bury my father." But Jesus told him, "Follow me now. Let the spiritually dead bury their own dead." Jesus calms the storm. Then Jesus got into the boat and started across the lake with his disciples. Suddenly, a fierce storm struck the lake, with waves breaking into the boat, but Jesus was sleeping. The disciples went and woke him up, shouting, "Lord, save us! We're going to drown." Jesus responded, "Why are you afraid? You have so little faith." Then he got up and rebuked the wind and waves, and suddenly there was a great calm. The disciples were amazed. "Who is this man?" they asked. "Even the winds and waves obey him." Jesus sends demons into a herd of pigs. When Jesus arrived on the other side of the lake, in the region of the Gadarenes, that's a tough one, I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna take a second. Gadarenes, maybe. So in the region of the Gadarenes, two men who were possessed by demons met him. They came out of the tombs and were so violent that no one could go through the area. They began screaming at him, "Why are you interfering with us, Son of God? Have you come here to torture us before God's appointed time?" There happened to be a large herd of pigs feeding in the distance. So the demons begged, "If you cast us out, send us into the herd of pigs." "All right, go," Jesus commanded them. So the demons came out of the men and entered the pigs. And the whole herd plunged down the steep hillside into the lake and drowned in the water. The herdsmen fled to the nearby town, telling everyone what happened to the demon-possessed men. Then the entire town came out to meet Jesus, but they begged him to go away and leave them alone. So, there are two parts to this specific chapter, chapter 8, that I absolutely love. And the reason why I love them are kind of for the same reason. I'm going to make some leaps and bounds here, so I'm going to make some references. When at first it says, and these are in red letters, "I tell you the truth, I haven't seen faith like this in all Israel," when he's talking about the Roman who had shown faith that he could heal his servant without even being in the same place. Say, "Go, hey, you asked, you showed faith, it's all done." "And I tell you this, that many Gentiles will come from all over the world, from east and west, and sit down with Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob at the feast of the kingdom of heaven." I'd like to think I'm one of those guys. I'm a Gentile. I'm not one of God's chosen people, but I've built this relationship with Jesus that I hope when I make it to heaven that he goes, "Hey, good job, good and faithful servant. Like, you belong to me. Welcome." That I just absolutely love. But that also connects me to my next one. So I love when Jesus calms a storm. So there is one other point to where this happened, and I absolutely love it. And it's a connection that I made that I am blown away. Jesus says that we'll have the power to do the things that he has done. And he gives us those abilities through faith, through exercise, through what's the word I'm looking for? Fasting and prayer and time with him. He says we're going to be able to do all the things that he did. And he tells us that. And one thing that I absolutely love is that this event happened to a previous person in the Bible, being caught in a storm. The only thing that's the biggest thing for me is he wasn't doing exactly what God wanted him to do. It's Jonah. When Jonah's escaping, say, "Hey, I don't want to go where you told me to go, God. I don't want to go," I believe, to Nineveh. "I don't want to go there. Those guys are bad. They deserve any punishment you're going to give them, take care of that." And he's escaping. He's leaving. He ends up going to sleep on a boat. And exactly like this, he wakes up. He goes, "Hey, I know who sent this storm. I know these issues." And he was woken up by the men. "Hey, you better start praying to whatever God you got, because this storm's, we're all going to drown. We're all going to die." And Jonah goes, "No, don't worry about it." He had such faith. He's like, "Just toss me overboard and toss me off the ship, and it's all going to be fine." And that's when he got swallowed by the whale. He just surrendered to God and calmed the storm. It's fantastic. Like, I love that. That lets you know that in your pursuit for him, the only thing perfect in your life that you're going to be able to obtain is the grace that he gives you. Because he made that sacrifice. It's God. It's Jesus. That's it. But the things that he's going to allow you to accomplish just by simply surrendering to him and following his rules and law, it's all the same things that he did. And that's why I like that connection. I think that if you go from reading Jonah to reading what happened to Jesus, that's a connection that I make. Say, hey, there's going to be room at the table in heaven for all the Gentiles, all the people that aren't of his chosen people, that aren't Jews, that he's just waiting for. He just wants that relationship. And that even through imperfection, just simply desiring to have that relationship with him, he's going to let you do crazy things. There's walking on water. There's getting swallowed by a whale but calming the storm. There's great feats of strength. There's killing Goliath, surviving the furnaces, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. There's separating the Red Sea. All these things were done by such imperfect people. But the one thing that they did have in their lives, the one thing that was perfect, was a relationship with God. They just say, hey, I know I don't know how to do all these things. I just have to submit to you. He's like, you're right. You're right. Keep it up. You're on the right track. Keep submitting to me. It's going to be okay. There's going to be things that happen that aren't going to be great. But just know that I do it. I'm either preparing you or preparing someone else for you. And so I love that. I love this passage because I immediately think of Jonah, and it's the exact same thing, and he's not even close to perfect. In fact, he's disobeying God. But because of his relationship, because of the relationship that he has in him, the comfort that he has in him, he just has it. It's just a part of his life. It's a part of his walk. And so it's like, think of a parent. Say, hey, I think of the relationship I have with my dad now. Say, do I do everything perfectly like he would expect me to? No, but I do my best to honor my mother and father. I'm blessed by that. And if I had that same relationship that I have with my Heavenly Father, I'm going to be continually blessed by that. And I'm not perfect. I don't expect to be. But through my pursuit of Him, I have His grace, which makes me perfect through His sacrifice. And so I love it. Sorry about that runaround thing. That I just love that connection because that's what makes me think about it. There's so many fantastic stories that are connected to one another. And I think I've rambled on long enough today. But that was Matthew 8. I love you. Jesus loves you. And I will look to see you guys tomorrow reading chapter 9. And the header there says, Jesus heals a paralyzed man. Some more healing, some more blessings. Have a good night, guys, and God bless. And I'll be doing some more reading tomorrow. See ya.